In Ireland, in the 1840s, there was a great starvation. It's known as the famine, but we have to stop calling it the famine, because it wasn't a famine. A famine means extreme scarcity of food. My name it is Sam Jenkins. I come from old Whittington Hill. My people bow their heads down to the Lord of the Manor still. I grew up mean and hungry, dirty and poor and sick. I tried my best for not to steal, too afraid of the Van Diemen ships. Well, the only road to money, it was the road to the army gates. I took that road in 45 with the gang of my Staffordshire mates. We were shipped across to Ireland, some rebellions for to quell. Stationed north of Galway, in a landscape that mirrored hell. When we sailed into Galway, before my hair got dry, I will never forget the skeletons with a crazed look in their eyes, and their little children wailing as hunger ate them alive. When I realized what I was doing there, with the shame I nearly died. The food removal regiments, we were there to guard the food, being shipped each day to England, where the starving they were subdued. They said we needed the food more for our hungry boys abroad, and the Irish apes who farmed it, they weren't men in the eyes of the Lord. My dear friend Billy Cooper, he couldn't console himself. From a cherry tree in the backfield, he was hanging by his belt. In the 41st Foot Regiment, just north of Galway town, I fed myself the servant of a devil in a crown. I disobeyed an order. I refused to shoot a man. Now stripped of my gun and uniform, I am bound for Van Diemen's land. You rogues who rule Britannia, may you burn in hell for good. Us poor, we do your dirty work, and then you dine on our flesh and blood. Abuse and shame will tell their truth to their youth, and forgive but never forget. Yeah, forgive but never forget. all of our lives, all this pain and tears like rain, tell the truth to the youth and forgive but never forget. You forgive but never forget. You forgive but never forget. You forgive but never forget.
A strange thing might be that you're shy and you're sensitive and a kind of easygoing offstage presence. And then there is this high priest on stage. And isn't it a funny parallel to have? Isn't it? Because you couldn't be the high priest off stage.
No, I wouldn't be let now, unfortunately.
You know, but if you didn't have the stage as an outlet,
Yeah,
you'd have so much in you that never got the opportunity to be expressed.
that's very true, yeah. When you're up on stage, I go into another place, a different dimension, I think, when I get up on stage, or when I'm singing, I go into a different place. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a different vibration or different frequency or something, I don't know, from the vibration that's going through. It's...
Okay, so there's the vibration that might happen if you're on your own singing, and the way that, say, for a lot of men, we cry in the car listening to music, right?
Yeah.
So there are different states available when you're on your own.
Yeah.
But then there's the vibration when it's a collective and there's 3,000 people. What's that like?
It's pretty awesome, I have to say. Pretty driocht. I think when it's mass, when we sing, we have to focus. We have to remember the next line of the song and try and stay on time and nearly in key. So you have to focus when you sing. So when 3,000 people are focusing at the same time, it's meditative, I suppose, So it creates an incredible vibration, and it's just, you just feel as one with everybody, and I think everyone forgets all their troubles and their cares, and they just become in the moment. Everyone's in the moment, and that just creates magic, I think. Really creates magic.
But it's not permanent.
No, absolutely no. It's not permanent, and I just remember from the sing songs when I was young, in my granny's house and my auntie's house, and the other granny or neighbours' houses, we had sing songs, and I remember being a small kid and just seeing all the feet tapping on the floor and the heads thrown back and the eyes closed, people singing in ecstasy, And just the feeling I got then was a safe feeling, very warm feeling inside, like Christmas Eve for a child. And I felt like I was just belonged there, and there was never any trouble at them, Put everyone on a good vibration, in good humour. So it felt very safe and warm. It was like being around a campfire or something. It felt like I was with me tribe, with me people.
Is that strange thing though of when you're in a song, or say when I'm in a story, and even if the story is I'm telling it to somebody in the street or on stage, there is an otherness that's happening, isn't there? There's a kind of, you're in control and you're not in control.
Yeah, sure.
And yeah, I can totally get the thing of safety.
Yeah. People feel safe. They're focused, I suppose, we're all meditating as one together because we're...
Yeah. And so have you, over the past year then, have you missed that?
It's given me the chance to step back and take a breath and just realise how amazing it is, you know, how lucky I am, how amazing it is and how important it is to people. The art, I think, you know, helps us through all the other shite that we have to deal with now in life, you know, I think.
What's it like when you're here and you're about to go on and the crowd are chanting your name and you're just fucking hell. You know, one of the things that happened to me during the lockdown was that for a couple of months, I lost the confidence. I said, I'll never be able to do that again. Because you get into a rhythm of being able to access the performer.
Yeah.
And that was gone. And I said, geez, I'll never develop that personality again. So did you go through a phase of that during lockdown?
I sort of thought about how I have to really get myself into it. It's a sort of real challenge, you know, to go out there and give lots of people a great night after night, you know. It's a challenge and you have to psych myself up a lot for it, you know. It takes a lot out of me, you know. After say 3 nights in here and I'm just like barely speak, you know, I'm just totally shattered.
What you get here is almost euphoria beyond measure. I mean, the atmosphere in the room is, talk about it has vibrated to another level.
Sure, absolutely, yeah, it has. Somehow, it's great. There's a real healing vibration going on. That's what people say. It's very spiritual and very healing. Very healing. And we got some footage of it there for the documentary. We got some footage of last December and to see the audience was incredible. They're crying, laughing, hugging each other, dancing, singing like there's no tomorrow. You know, it's very, very special.
Walking through the city was as lonely as could be. I wander in the night time, out in search of company. Feel real isolation when all around me life familiar but unfriendly, unfriendly with no choice. And I can see the evil, but I can feel the good shining out to greet me from within bone and blood. I'm throwing out this loneliness, I can't stick it anymore. Only need myself tonight to open up that door. And I know that sometimes it gets so bad, but you're not on your own, so don't be sad. 'Cause if you feel it bad, you're not on your own tonight. Please don't be so sad, you're not on your own tonight. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You see, I know the feeling. You don't have to tell me nothing, 'cause you know the feeling. Everybody seems to think it's they who bear the pain, they who bear the biggest cross, the loneliness and the shame. Day to day you suffer when you're living in your past. If you started living for the now, You could free yourself at last if you started living further now for yourself and those around. Experience and celebrate the freedom that you found. You could free yourself forever and live life as you should. The choice is yours to take now. I've said other accord, but I know that sometimes it gets so bad. But you're not on your own, so don't be sad. 'Cause if you feel it bad, you're not on your own tonight. Please don't be so sad, you're not on your own tonight. Well, if you feel it bad, then you're not on your own tonight. Please don't be so sad, 'cause you're not on your own tonight. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You see, I know the feeling. Don't know to tell me nothing, but you know I know the feeling. You're not on your own tonight. You're not on your own tonight. You're not on your own tonight. You're not on your own tonight.
Where do you feel at home?
Anywhere in Ireland, really. Belfast, Cork, anywhere. West Cork, Kerry Mountains, Mayo, anywhere. Donegal, anywhere on this island, really.
It's so strange because I have the same sense.
Yeah.
Except I'm not. You're very. It's very easy to identify you as a Dubliner.
Yeah.
I've lived in so many different parts of the country, grown up and stuff like that, and I thought that was the reason why I felt at home everywhere. But you're a strong Dublin, you have the same sense.
Yeah, and I've traced me people back to about 12 counties, different counties.
So
they all converged here.
In this whirlpool.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
A
mongrel city.
And so how we were talking before about Mayo,
yeah.
And what does that mean to you, to know that, say, your grandfather's family came from there? Does that, as a story, what does that do to you, or as an ingredient in your imagination? How do you?
Yeah, I've been back there a good bit. That's the O'Connors. They're a great family. Jackie and Irene, Rory and Rachel were great friends to my grandfather, and he used to go down. He worked in the gas company down in the docks there, but he got back to Kilmaine for his 2 weeks holidays every year. Good luck to the family, 11 kids.
Yeah.
You go down, get the train down and the bus up to Kilmaine then, and he'd foot tour for his 2 weeks holidays.
Yeah.
Just love the bog. Love to be back on the bog. And Jackie O'Connor brought me back to the bog there during the summer, where they used to go.
Yeah.
Foot tour from Tommy, where they used to eat and all. So it was, that was nice. So I'm born and tour from my fire now.
My grandfather was also from Kilmaine.
They were telling me, yeah.
So
They showed me where your people were from. They dropped me down.
So my grandfather and your grandfather would have been horrified at us talking now in front of television cameras.
Yes, isn't it? Yeah. They tell all their secrets.
Yeah. So have you missed gigging?
I've been philosophical about it, you know. Just take a step back, take a ponder, and realise how great it is, you know. It's a kind of spiritual entity in the physical world, and what it does for people, how much it means to them, how it helps them through life, and just kind of resets them, you know. That's what a lot of people say after the gig, it resets them.
Yeah.
Puts them on a better trajectory after the show.
Would you have role models in terms of performers, people who, by what they've done, give you a good steer?
I suppose just soul singers, someone who goes out there and gives everything. You know, like it's their last night on earth. You see a Christy Moore gig or something, you know, a Finbar Fiore gig or Sinead O'Connor gig, or, you know.
And in terms of money then, have you felt hassled over the past year?
Yeah, felt hassled, yeah. A bit hassled, but that's always been the way, really, you know. Always just scraping by, which is fine. You know. It's more of a luxurious form of scraping by nowadays than it used to be.
Yeah.
You know? But you struggle to pay the bills a bit, you know, but it's no problem once I can eventually pay them.
Yeah.
My mother used to say, if you know some financial institution money, let them worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't kill yourself with worry, you know. Sometimes you can't you? The threatening letters are coming through the door, you know.
Yeah. I remember my father saying to me in the 80s when interest rates went up to 18%, you know, he was getting eviction orders, and he wouldn't open the letters would come and he wouldn't open the letter in the house because of the effect it had of him.
Sure.
And he says he was working that time from Nobber.
Right.
And he'd be driving from Navan to Nobber, and he said he'd pull into the side of the road, he'd read the letter, vomit.
Oh, Jesus.
And continue on to work.
That's a tough man.
You know, so when you talk about you accept, it's that great quote of Christ's, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Do you know what I mean? Someone said to him, you know, should you pay taxes to the Romans? They're so corrupt. And he says, bring me a Roman coin. Right? And the brother he said, whose head is that? He didn't say it in that accent now, but he said, whose head is that? And I said, that's Caesar's. Well, fucking give it to Caesar then. So would you get very stressed about the money thing, or just let it pass by you?
Try and let it pass by, and I've kind of learned that if you just give gratitude for what you have now and feel it, you know, that money comes. More money comes. I'm trying to practice gratitude every day.
And how are you with the fact that thousands and thousands and thousands of people will say, thank you for Damien Dempsey?
I have won a hero's name with McAlpine and Costain, with Fitzpatrick, Murphy, Ash and Wimpy's gang. I've been often on the road, on my way to draw the dole, when there's nothing left to do for Johnny Lang. And I used to think that God made the mixer pick and hod, so that Paddy might know hell above the ground. I've had gangers big and tough tell me tear it all out rough when you're building up and tearing England down. I remember Carrier Jack, he wore a hod upon his back, and he swore he'd one day set the world on fire. His face we've never seen since his shovel it cut clean through the middle of a big high tension wire. my soil balls McCall from the big flyover fall into a concrete mixer spinning round. Though it was not his intent, he got a fine head of cement when he was building up and tearing England down. I was on the hydro dam the day that Pat McCann got the better of his stammer in a week. He fell from the shuttering jam, and that poor old stuttering man, he was never ever more inclined to speak. And no more like Robin Hood will he roam through Cricklewood or dance around the pubs of Camden Town. And let no man complain that no paddy dies in vain when they're building up and tearing England down. In a tunnel underground, a young Limerick man was found. He was built into the new Victoria line. And when the bonus gang had passed, sticking through the concrete cast was the face of little Charlie Joe Devine. And the ganger man McGurk said Big Paddy aids the work when a gas pipe burst and he flew off the ground. Well, they swear he said, don't slack, I'll not be there until I'm back. Keep on building up and tearing England down. So come, ye navvies bold, who do think that English gold is just waiting to be plucked from every sod? Or that the likes of you and me will ever get an OBE or a knighthood for good service to the hod. They're the concrete master race, there to keep you in your place, and a ganger man to kick you to the ground. If you ever try to take part of what the bosses make when you're building up and tearing England down. If you ever try to take part of what the bosses make when you're building up and tearing England down.
Is this going to be on the telly? Oh, Logan, if you're watching, Nanny loves you. Yeah, I'm going. I'm going. I'm going.
Do you miss performing live?
Yeah, big time.
Really?
Yeah, especially being here. Like, it's so nostalgic. Even when I was in the green room there waiting to come out, it just reminded me, you know, like those jitters before I go on stage.
Yeah.
And like the stage manager's calling you, okay, you ready to go? And like they just walkie-talkie like the sound engineer, and it's just a completely different experience now being here, and like that's just nearly a year ago.
So over the course of the lockdown and stuff, what did you do with your gift?
Well, I'm lucky because I had social media as a platform, which I have from the get-go, and that's how I ended up on stage. Do you know what I mean? So I was able to still like bang out videos and entertain people and like stay relevant, because one of the worst things is I worry about if I don't produce content all the time, that people will forget about me. So I feel that kind of pressure on my shoulders. So that definitely, and I was quite busy with shows before COVID, so I didn't get to put kind of the TLC into the page. So once COVID happened, I got to kind of like reinvent myself and like kind of get back on the scene again. So When I went in like to comedy, I was very green, and I thought that's how everyone did it. And then I soon learned that some people are really good at, obviously off the bat, like thinking on the spot, like yourself. And then other people just go out and do one-liner, you know, those type of jokes. And then I found my own niche. And I don't think there are any comedians who you can say they're both the same. Do you think everybody has their own niche? Everyone has their own like brand?
I think it's a lot like not knowing how to swim and being fucked into the ocean. Whatever you can do to stop yourself from drowning.
Stay afloat, yeah.
Like,
my benefit was I got to test material in my videos on social media. And do you know, it was actually only the other day, it was 6 years to the day I actually started the page 6 years ago. And I thought that the hype with my content would have died after a year or two. And to think that 6 years later, I'm still like putting out content and people are still watching me, like it's, you know, it's like my videos are still getting like 100k views, and I just find that baffling. Like the hype is still there, because some people do fizzle out, they're just like a flash in the pan, but like I'm still baffled, and I'm so grateful. And like I said, during lockdown, I was still able to make videos and content. So I get to test my material in the videos, and then I drop the jokes on stage and I get to see the live laughter.
did you find, or how did you find so you say something funny online, okay, and you've said it, and then you go on and say the next thing. You say something funny in Vicar Street in front of 1,100 people, and you have to take their reaction on board. You have to wait till they stop laughing. So what's your experience of that, of performing in front of a live crowd?
Well, with the videos, like obviously you don't hear laughter. So my kind of indication if people enjoyed it is they quote the jokes. So I would write jokes for the video, and then they would quote it in the comment section. I'd be like, oh, like that's when I started to learn that I can actually write. So that's when I said maybe I should give stand-up a go. And then I just wrote the same way I would write for my videos. And then I put that into kind of action on stage, and people were laughing. Like people were laughing at the way I word the jokes. Like, you know yourself, there is a certain significant way you have to say a joke for people to find a funny comic timing. And I was like, I have comic timing. So I was on stage, and when you actually hear people laughing back at you, and it's rolling into the next joke, and it's rolling and it's rolling. And it's great. Like in the likes of Vicar Street and stuff, when you say a joke and you have to wait nearly 5 minutes for people to stop laughing, like there's no better
That's very
feeling.
long.
Yeah.
And are you able to earn from the online stuff?
Oh yeah, 100%. Now in the early days I was very green, and a brand wouldn't touch me with a 10-foot barge pole if that was today. Some of the things I said weren't very politically correct, but I did have an instinct obviously not to cross certain lines. And then eventually like people started contacting me, like managers and agents, and they were like, yeah, like brands would love to work with you, and you can write material, and you can engage with their audience the way they can't. But the thing is, sometimes when you're working with brands is they come to you to write a script, you know, for a video, to have a new product.
Yeah.
And they look at it and they're like, can you not say this? Can you not say that?
Yeah.
And like they completely strip it away. Like they can completely strip away like the comedy. And it's like, why are you coming to me to use my skills, and then you're dictating the script? It's similar to why I started on social media, because I knew that I would have to go knocking on doors if I wanted to get anywhere. And I seen social media and Facebook video, and I was like, here's a platform. I don't have to consult anyone. I don't have anyone dictating what I write. I don't have to go through an audition process, have a show reel, where years ago you would have to do that. So I just put up a video for the whole country to see. It didn't cost me any money. And here I am 6 years later still doing it. So
You don't prefer live to the online stuff? They're both the same for you?
yeah, they both have their pros and their cons. I mean, you probably know yourself, like, I have the same experience with the online and the live stuff. I beat myself up a lot if the video doesn't perform well, and I beat myself up a lot if I'm on stage and I feel I didn't do a good show.
So do you have an awareness of that you have a certain crowd?
Yeah, and you know what? It's actually changed over the years. I kind of thought, like, if you're working class, you're only going to attract working class. Like, did you ever find, like, from where you're from, you're only going to attract culties? Like, did you ever think?
I fucking beg your pardon. I strike you as a fucking culty. You're remarkable. I think you've got remarkable clarity. And you seem, even though you talk about doubt, this great assurance coming off you, and it seems very, very clear in your mind what you're doing.
It's I really hope it continues. Like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I was always one of those people who I'll never settle for less. I don't ever want to work for someone else. I don't want to ever be told what to do because I was shit at it. I mean, the only person I can take direction off is myself.
Eileen Og, oh that my darling's name is true. The barony, her features they were famous. If we loved her, now who was there to blame us? Wasn't she the bride of Petrovor? Oh, but her beauty made us all so shy. A devil, one among us, could look her in the eye. Boys, oh boys, now that's the reason why we're in mourning for the bride of Petrovor. Oh, Eileen, oh, my heart's turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the bride of Petrovor. Oh, Friday at the fair in Ballintubber, Eileen met McGrath the cattle jobber. I'd like to set my mark upon the robber. He stole her with the bride of Petrovor. Oh, he'd never seemed to see the girl at all, even when she oogled him from underneath her shawl. Looking big and masterful, now she was looking small, most provoking to the bride of Petrovor. Oh, Eileen, oh, my heart's turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the bride of Petrovor. Now, it went as was in the beginning. Eileen O was bent upon the winning. Owl McGrath, he just the captain grinning, be courted with the bride of Petrovor. Said he ain't no girl would knock you to fits. With that, Eileen, she nearly lost her wits. The upshot of the ruction is that now the fella sits with his arm around the bride of Petrovor. Oh, Eileen, oh, my heart is turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the bride of Petrovor. Oh boys, with fate it's hard to grapple. Of my eye, now Eileen was the apple. Now I see her waltzing out the chapel with the hardest featured man in Petrovor. Oh boys, take heed in what I say. When you're courting, don't make no display. If you want them to run after you, just look the other way. They're mostly like the bride of Petrovor. Oh Eileen, oh, my heart's turning grey ever since the day you wandered far away. Eileen, oh, there's good fish in the sea, but there's none of them like the bride of Petrovor. None like the bride of Petrovor. None like the bride of Petrovor.
Does and did rap have a presence in Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, very much so. So there's two. So I grew up in the inner city of Zimbabwe. So there's two ways that this was in the noughties when there was like a bit of a financial boom in rap. So a lot of things was about the shiny life, like shiny suits, and just really, really like Puff Daddy was like the main guy. So if you had an inkling that you wanted to be or you wanted to act like you had money, you would want to act like you do rap music. But then the music that related to the regular life of the inner city kid was reggae and dancehall music. So reggae and dancehall music, if you're like, I don't know, if you own the fact that you come from like inner city life, then you're about reggae and dancehall music. Like you're quote unquote.
Is it to do with importation? So that if you're looking at, as most Irish kids would have done up until, you know, Horslips, Thin Lizzy, U2 and the Boomtown Rats, if you were looking to America to see the type of music that you wanted to be a part of, that's one thing. Right. But then seeing it in Harare is another thing. You're saying it was mainly, in Harare, it was mainly reggae.
Yeah, reggae.
That you could claim as this is ours.
Yeah, I feel like reggae music instilled sort of things that we could relate to. You saw things that looked like you. Whereas if you wanted to aspire to something else, you like rap music.
Yeah.
And that's why to this day, reggae and dancehall music is the most popular genre in Zimbabwe right now. Whereas rap now has come a long way to make it more relatable, because other people have now found other people to go, I want to be more like him. But it's still very much like champagne bottles and stuff like that if you're talking about rap. But if you're talking about like real relatable music that's off the streets, by the streets, yeah, the reggae will be.
So you grew up in Zambia.
Yeah, I grew up in a village. These guys are city guys.
Yeah.
For the
You're a
most
culture.
part. Oh, for sure. I'm more than a culture. I'm a village girl. I grew up in Chikankhata in Mazabuka province, and even in Zambia, that's like in the sticks.
I lived in Kabwe.
Okay.
Is that worse?
It's not worse, but we're like each other.
I know that if my family had stayed in Kabwe, it's highly unlikely that I'd be doing stand-up comedy now.
Yeah.
So do you have a sense that if your family had stayed in Zambia, like what was it about coming to Ireland that gave you imaginative permission
Yeah.
to fashion a career in music? If you'd have stayed in Zambia, what do you think would have?
Okay, so there are two parts to that question. I mean, if I'd stayed in Zambia, I feel that I probably would have been a teacher or something. I was in Chikankhata in like a Salvation Army mission town because there was a mission hospital that my parents were working at. My father is a neurologist and my mother is a radiographer. And their impetus has always been that, like, we want to go where we're needed, where we can help, where we can build community. And I grew up in an environment where people would literally name their children after my mom and dad. There are a lot of little Elijahs and Lydias running around in Chikankhata because of the impact that they left in that place. And I grew up idolizing my parents because it is amazing to see them use their skills to, on every level, kind of want to make their environment better. So not just as medical professionals, but I remember that my mom started a homeschool because she said, you know, we don't have enough resources here and I want to teach Denise, but at the same time, I don't want to remove us from this place that we're invested in. So let me start a school. Let me start a preschool. Let me like get little books and stuff. And we had friends from all over the world, doctors from like New Zealand, from Japan, from Ireland and Scotland. And they just kind of poured into this community space. And so I think that it's likely that I would have done something in the performing arts. Like my family are very, they have a lot of flair. We're very analytical people, but we like to talk. I think I was talking before I was one and dramatic for much longer than that. But it is about, you know, what I would have had access to in terms of training and what would have made sense for me. You know, and it might not have been music. It might have been, but it might not have been.
For yourself then, it was Togo.
Togo, yeah. So I was born in Lomé, which is like the capital city of Togo. And so I'd say, like, see, I suppose I'm from like, my people are called the Ewe people, and we're quite a musical group of people. And so music has been around funerals or any celebration. Have always involved a lot of music, but actually actively taking part in the music from the youngest to the oldest. So that's been there. But having it actually like that, if you're part of it, you never look at it as a career or as an option or as a path you will take.
Yeah.
So my dream would have been to become a soccer player. That was the thing for me. So if I would have stayed in Togo, I'd say, the chances of me becoming a footballer would have been higher. Than a musician. I don't think a musician would have been, music would be something that I would do anyway because it was part of our DNA.
Yeah.
But not as a profession.
You listen to Tupac.
Yeah.
And the experience of his experience of being black in America.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the differences between the experience of being black in America and black in County Clare?
Oh. Okay, let me answer this in a different way.
Yeah.
Hip hop is not just rap music; it's a culture. it's a culture that was created by migrant kids in the Bronx who came from so many different backgrounds, and their parents had records. You know, they had disco records. They were from Jamaica. They were from Haiti. They were from all these places. They were African American, and they were coming from a history of oppression and voicelessness. And they got to a point where they couldn't find any place that represented their voice, their culture, their journey, their struggle, who they actually were. But they had found themselves at a point where people were constantly trying to tell that story for them. And so they said, you know what? We just want to speak to each other. We want to have a voice. We don't agree with this narrative. And also we want to dance, you know? And so like, that's why Kool Herc grabbed people at these dances and like found little like hidey holes and like just for whole nights just broke down all of these records, and people would grab the mic and they would start to say things, you know? And I think that that's something that Black people universally have connected to, is that we all share, without sharing the specifics of each other's experience, we share a history of pain and trauma through oppression globally. And on so many levels, and Blackness is not a monolith, but we share that. And so if you're talking about an art form, which at its heart is designed to give you a voice and says, actually, and this is the permission that hip hop has at its heart, it's that not everyone will agree with what you're saying. A lot of people will be really upset that you even feel that you have the gall to say it. But if you have to say it, say it. Here is a community. Here is music. Here is a way forward. Make it your own.
Welcome to the Now Lane.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome to the Now Lane.
I go by the name of God
Welcome
Knows.
to the Now Lane.
That's Denise Chaila.
Welcome to the Now
That's
Lane.
Murli.
To the narrow lane.
Welcome to the Now Lane.
And we are
Welcome to
Narrow
the Now
Lane.
Lane.
To the narrow lane.
We just want to say hello. Hey, 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 hey. So far, man, I still feel like I ain't even studied yet. My career ain't happened, just a succession of drills. And I ain't talking section chief, keep for 6'7". Been doing it since I was 11, only to feel like I was Stranger Things. Always been to wearing things like the poverty, my family. That's why I give it everything. It's not just a rapping thing, it's not just a music thing, it's a life thing. When you didn't hear me, I was writing. Never felt right in. I was too black, too white, too left, too right. Take two lefts and two rights. It didn't get to the right place, but put me on the rhythm, then I fit onto the right place. All the right places, then I'm off to the races. I just wanna run, I can get my motivation in my feet. So, but in my language, I just want my bloody shoes like I'm Cardi B. Got another me inside me that's dying to out me. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is God Knows. Hey, 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 hey. We just wanna say hello. Hey, hi, hey.
Maize meal with cassava leaves. I prefer my molu with black eyed beans. Shit cocoa with banana puffs in the evening. Skin glowing, yakumi enriching my melanin. Assembled by small size, second TV screen in the courtyard. Saving up on electricity. Heroes looks at anything except me. Bruce Lee, Louis de Funès, GCVD, the real influencers. But those behind the scene drawing water from the well so my body knows what's filling me in on the truth about lick, bat, and goblins. We were always more than guinea pigs and vaccines. Race welcome, strangers with glee, especially those from above who will flatter to deceive. Salts free in our skins and say we were beneath. I guess their gods must be crazy.
Those who said we were beneath, I guess their gods must be crazy.
Welcome Welcome to the narrow lane. This is Denise Chaila, God Knows and Murli. Here to bring some water for you.
Trust me.
The Fianna taught me how to keep it cool. The Hound of Cullen really showed me how to stage a coup. So don't you ever get too comfortable. If you want a resolution, then you're gonna have to rock the boat. I claim my name, finesse the feng shui. Rise like souffle, I toss the bouquet. I came off Broadway to rep. I always peep game, but now I'm not playing. If I leave, then I'm taking all my relics with me. Every museum, every gallery, my birthright is coming with me. So you can't tell me what I'm destined to be. Every curse formed against my family will be ending with me. Mansa, Musa, Black Medusa, French guillotine with the execution. We know Wanji, Awe, Mwanzi. Every day we breathe is a revolution.
It's a revolution. It's a revolution.
What's the energy of Limerick like?
The best city in the planet. I think. Do you know what?
I'm
It's
not
like,
joking though. Yeah, it might be.
What do you love about Limerick?
I love the people.
Yes.
I love the people of Limerick, and I think it's something that for me personally, having moved to Ireland when I was like 11, and then having to learn a new language, it took a while to get to even get involved. All I knew was my school and my school friends. So my school was Limerick, and I went to an inner city Limerick school. So my view of Limerick was like, okay, this is raw. Somewhere it even felt like Lome for me sometimes, because it's like, this is real, you know. There isn't like this isn't the view of Europe that I had before I got here, and but I love that because it just meant like you can literally just walk to someone's house and they don't lock their door, you know, where my friends were at. But then I didn't realize that there was a difference from where I was going to school to where I lived as well. Because where I actually lived, people lock their doors all the time, you know. But then where I go to school, when I go to my friend's place, it's a community of people.
Yeah.
And then the one thing that I kind of, as I got a bit older, I started appreciating it more is like I became part of the music community in Limerick, which is, for me, is like one of the best communities I'm part of.
Can you tell me what that community is like?
It's like, I think it's like, I'd say it's totally a cross-genre community, right? Because it's like you feel, while making music, I've worked with people who are not rappers.
Yes.
More than I did with rappers. You know, and I think every rapper or every other musician would probably say the same thing as well. Rap has kind of become the latest of the crop of musicians that Limerick has produced over the last while. But having had some people who have been in the city making music, maybe not getting the recognition their work merited but at the time, but they kept making music, kind of changed everything for me, because I had the idea first, being a young Black rapper in Limerick, my thing is like, for this to make any sense, I'm probably gonna have to change country. I'm probably gonna have to emigrate again to another part of the world for this to ever make sense.
Yeah.
But seeing those people, then realizing that, okay, no, they're making music, maybe they're not being played on TV or national radios or anything, but they're making great music and they believe in it. And when I go to their shows, there are people attending there. So it's like, well, maybe there's something for me to learn there as well. So then I joined that community of people who are really welcoming as well. And because we're all there to learn from each other as well. So like a lot of like one of my, you know, friends, Steve Ryan from Windings, you know, he plays guitars on a lot of my songs. But he's not a rapper, but he's into rap music.
Oh, it's
you know,
incredible.
and I can go on about, you know, people like that around the city.
There's a consciousness. There's a conscious movement within everybody there that this is my place, I have to claim it. I also want to represent it properly because I'm aware of how much bad press it gets. And most of the musicians there holistically have this sense of love and warmth that's given almost in excess, like that we're trying to build our community. Like we are community musicians, you know, without going through the process of getting the degree in that. It's at the heart of us that we have a community that we want to nurture. We have music. We want to use our music to nurture it. We're really proud of our people. We're really proud of what we've been able to build and grow and what we're a part of, you know, what we're furthering. Like I started doing poetry in the White House. It's this pub in Limerick. And it was because when I first moved there, I really wanted to be a poet. I'd grown up on like Def Jam poetry, watching Mos Def do his thing. And I couldn't find any spaces that I would be able to do it at. So before I found my forever home, my forever friends, I went to the White House because they advertised somewhere online that this was the place in Limerick for poetry. And I walked in and it was like largely, again, old white men, people who I would never have dreamed I had a lot in common with, but like we clicked. I went back, I made my dad take me week in and week out. And they were more Seamus Heaney and I was more Nikki Giovanni, but it didn't kind of matter. It worked because it works when you're really trying to connect with people. It just works. We come from a culture of musicians and we went to a culture of musicians. We come from a culture of storytellers. We went to a culture of storytellers, you know, from people who know how to go out, have a drink and have a laugh with their families. And to the exact same thing. And so it's like there are so many crossovers that are beautiful when you know what you're looking for, you know, and when you're given, again, permission to claim the environment around you and make it make sense to your story and not try to fit into other people's.
What do you think makes Irish rap different from English rap or American or even
Denise doesn't answer.
It's a sound that you cannot predict. It is a sound that you cannot predict. You know, it's...
And it's true.
It's true. We have a story that English people can't write. We have a story that American people can't write. They don't live our lives, you know?
One of the greatest freedoms that I've ever had and I've been afforded to as an MC is because, like, in terms of the two places I grew up watching in terms of music was the UK and America. And I watched different eras. You know, I'm pretty sure as a comedian, you might watch different eras of comedians do their thing. It's the same thing for us as musicians. I might watch the 90s era of rap and I go, okay, this is how they started. This is where they got to. This is how they did their thing. Then I might go to the UK and do the same thing. Now, the beautiful thing is that in Ireland, there is only a few people that have done what we've done for where I want to take it anyway. And because I look at the same labels that they were signed to, I want to know. I go back and I study who signed them, and I study why did they sign instead of staying independent? Why did they do what they do? So being somewhat detached from like cliques and like, oh, in this town, you wear a hat like this. In this place, you walk like this. You talk like this. Having the freedom to create my own is what makes us stand out, because there's a lot of different people, especially if you listen to our music, you will see that someone from Tipperary is going to go about it differently. Someone from Limerick is going to go about it different. Someone from Dublin, someone from Shannon, County Clare is going to go about it differently. And that in itself makes it so interesting, because we've heard a million stories from the US, which is why the southern side of America is doing really well, because their stories are still so unique. Whereas from the Bronx in New York and the boroughs that surround them, you've heard those stories a lot since Wu-Tang. You've heard them from all of the boroughs that come from New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia. Whereas because in the South of America, you have Houston, you have Georgia, Miami, you have so many different places that people have unique provinces and stories. It's the same thing for us, baby. Yeah. The County Limerick has got stories. You know, Askeaton's got something to tell you. You know, like Shannon's got something to tell you. Like then, you know, there's so many different little towns that have their own unique stories to tell you.
Yeah, I go by the name of Murli.
Hey.
Hey, what's good, Denise Chaila?
What's up?
Badman MC. Hey, God knows what he's saying.
Walk.
Let's do it, yo. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. Long ladies all about heartbeats. Cars on the phone calling me monetary, but my bank balance is giving me this. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. I'm making sure we will always eat. My bro said going for the man in the streets, and his mom just wants him home in one piece. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. Long ladies all about her peace. Cars on the phone calling me monetary, but my bank balance is giving me fits. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. I'm making sure we will always eat. My bro said going for the man in the streets, and his mom just wants him home in one piece. I saw so many men act great for attention, they only ever get in a grade. And I tried to see things that way, but in vain I was blind by how I was raised. I've been through my fair share of faces, no balaclava, but still grow faces. We put on a daily basis, time and pace pull me through my paces. Back when you're hard to get noticed, the call put your hand on the red light, ran on the white, all white, call it notice. Sketching it out before I knew I'd be an artist. Before I even wrote my pieces, I was a master at making it look easy. I couldn't even speak to a war and the war go DC's. Next album be a show of freaks. No line strings, but I do things. In the jungle taking with pics, but I never crossed my mind to be taking pics. I'm set hard from giving me socks. I'll be outside when I'm done counting bricks. One day I might feet in your box, but wait till I finish filling mine with ticks. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. Long ladies all around her bees. Cause on the phone calling me money tree, but my bank balance is giving me fits. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. I'm making sure we'll always eat. My bro still going for the man in the streets, and his mom just wants him home in one piece. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. Long ladies all around her peace. Cars on the phone calling me monetary, but my bank balance giving me fits. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. I'm making sure we will always eat. My bro still going for the man in the streets, and his mom just wants him home in one piece.
You run your mouth, I run things, done things. You never did no stunting. Function like I'm giving this all or nothing. No time wasted wondering. So much Kaylee in my yeah, I talk just like my father. Yes, I've got my mother's instincts. If I made ceiling, I'm going harder. Can't pee on my head and call it rain lane. So when you don't have the range, what? Me to think you're bad online, but still won't claim your government name. I know how to keep a cupid spit venom. If you want proof, then class is in session. I refuse to get in my own way or makes you think that you're special. The bell doesn't dismiss you, I do. I refuse to stay idle. Won't bow to idols or titans or titles. Keep myself bridled. I don't like my modesty false. Am I too much or are you not enough? I won't entertain insecurity. Lower my tones for who? For what? Are you not?
Hit the ground running, but if you ask them, they say that we're losing it. Love a hill and because we're proud of it. Black sweat and tears like a locker room. And to think it all started from my living room. Now you hear planes flying over your living room. River shining, dashing in my town after you. You bear witness, you can see greatest. All these young faces, nothing can face us. Passion regardless, don't mind all the garbage. They say that we're finished, but we've only started. They always debated, they say we won't make it. The underdog favorite, we're taking new challenges. Sure, look, we're gonna cover like condiments, all of this. All the confidence, why don't you all just fade away? Cause
my neighbors wanna sleep in peace. Long ladies all about her peace. Cars on the phone calling me monetary, but my bank balance is giving me fits. My neighbors wanna sleep in peace. I'm making sure we'll always eat. My bro still going for the man in the streets, and his mom just wants him home in one piece.
One piece.